The new rules on frames and receivers are going to come out a lot sooner than what we thought. Welcome back to the channel, Wolverines. Before we get started, big thank you to JSD Supply. JSD Supply sent me over a care package of chocolate candy bars and sodas for me and my kids, which will make my kids bounce off the wall. Thank you, JSD Supply. Had a bad week last week with my dad dying, my shoulder operation, and my wife being deployed. But they made it a little bit nicer by sending me a care package. I really appreciate it. And also, CRS Firearms sent a nice flower arrangement, which I really do appreciate. GOA also sent a card. Thank you, Gun Owners of America. You guys make everything I do worth it. All right, if you don't know who I am, my name is John Crump. I am the heavyweight champion of investigative journalism, and I concentrate on 2A issues. And today, we have a 2A issue. But before we get into that, if you can like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think about this whole effed up situation. Okay, so around SHOT Show, the ATF came out and said that they would be unveiling new regulations surrounding unfinished frames and receivers, or what they like to call ghost guns, or privately manufactured firearms, around August. That date got moved up a little bit after SHOT Show, but we thought it was still going to be the summertime. Now, according to the New York Times and some other sources that I had on the inside, that has been moved up even further. And then the new time frame, we'll see the new rules being unveiled in April sometime. I would take it to mean the middle of April, but it could be the beginning of April or the end of April. But right now, it looks like it will be the middle of April. Now, here's the really effed up situation. Originally, they were going to give 90 days before the new rules to go into effect once they unveiled them. That looks like that has changed. It looks like they are shortening the time period from 90 days to 60 days. So all these companies like P80, JSD that makes frames and receivers that can be finished by a gun owner will have 60 days to comply with the new regulations instead of the original 90 days. I don't understand why they just can't keep it to 90 days. That is fair. 60 days is putting everyone right behind the 8-ball. I mean, that is not a lot of time at all, especially if you have to serialize a bunch of frames and submit paperwork and everything else like that. But here's another thing. There is these new requirements for homemade suppressors that you have to submit pictures and parts list and websites. And that looks like that's digging for information. And after the 60 days is up, I think they're going to drop the hammer on a bunch of different companies that they consider not to be in compliance with the new rule. This just goes to show why the bump stock case is so important. That right now has been appealed to the Supreme Court. GOA has asked for a writ of cert with the Supreme Court, which basically means the Supreme Court will hear it. What GOA is arguing is that the ATF is using something called Chevron deference. Chevron deference means that if a rule is ambiguous or unclear, that the agency in charge gets to determine what that rule means. Chevron deference was never meant to be used in a criminal statute. And with the bump stocks, we see the ATF doing just that. With these new regulations surrounding unfinished frames and receivers, and also the pistol braces, which are coming down a little bit later, we are seeing that the ATF is trying to apply Chevron to criminal statutes. That should never be the case. For a criminal statute, it's supposed to go to Congress and it's supposed to be a law change, which they aren't doing. Even if it did go to Congress, I still think it violates our Second Amendment rights and our gun rights, because the Second Amendment rights and gun rights are two separate things, but we'll get into that in another video. So that is what we know so far. Hopefully the bump stock case goes well and JOA wins that, and that will knock off all this other nonsense coming down the pipe and saying, hey, to do a law change, you have to go to Congress to get a new law passed. All right, that is it for today. Check out my locals. Locals is basically like my Patreon now. And also check out my Discord. Both links are down below in the description. It would mean the world to me. With that said, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keeping the fight. I am out of here, Wolverines, motherfucker.